Welcome to the Let It Bleed podcast, a place where you can hear the liquor-fueled ramblings of two narcissistic wizards who conjure the essence of inspirational people every week and bring it straight to you.
Just how do you plan on doing that? Magic. Motherfucker.
And now for the wizards themselves, David Amaya and Phil Arroyo.
I saw an Onion article, an Onion headline yesterday that was like, the moon's sick of people blaming all of their fucking problems on it.
Oh yeah, no, I posted that. I don't know. Yeah, I posted that to my wall too a few days ago.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
It was great. Yeah, but it was funny because then somebody like commented, was like, "Oh, well, actually, the moon does." I'm like, I totally get it. I believe that it does do some crazy
Everything
shit.
just fucking-
You know,
Whenever they start with "well, actually," I just go, just eye roll emoji.
Well, actually, we have a really good show despite this ridiculous banter that's going on right now. We have
Do we now?
back in the studio Amara Brenner, the homie that I met at one of the events that I threw a couple years ago and ran into her again at Desert Hearts. It was a pleasant surprise. We saw each other for a very brief moment. She told me she wanted to tell me all this other stuff about, everything that's been going on with her since her last visit to the podcast. So said, well, shit, you want to come on? She's like, hell yeah. So here she is. She's on here, and things just her journey is just expanding, and new directions and all kinds of cool stuff. Definitely will serve as some inspiration for hopefully a lot of you. Yeah, I don't know. What
It was
do
a
you
really
think?
good conversation, It was really nice to get an update actually from a lot of the things that we talked about too, just to kind of get a snapshot in time from before, and then to jump to this one. It was crazy, we just dug through, got all that insight. It was a really fun conversation.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? We're just gonna go jump right into it then with Amara. So, as always, let it bleed. I need to learn,
There's a new thing called it just came out with this last version of Photoshop, which I know it's super exciting, but it's what's it called? It's the content aware workspace. It's like a whole new feature that they just added, and it's fucking awesome.
Okay.
And so there's ways where you can really have fine-tuned controls over how you do that, so you don't have to clone stamp a bunch of shit together anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know that what I'm doing is pretty antiquated in itself because people were like, "Yeah, you could just lasso that shit and But
essentially,
it's still for me. I don't know how to do it, and I just get anxiety thinking about how to do it. I'm just bad with that kind of shit.
I'll do that. I'll show you. I'll show you a handful of things.
I am so bad with all that shit.
Yeah. That's
List
life right here.
of-
And as you can see, my eyes fucking light up. We're ooh, you want to get super nerdy about technical stuff and
That's good, though.
Adobe
That's
programs?
Such a good quality to have.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what basically got me to where I am and what I do for a living, which is a bunch of it started with a YouTube hole, and being ooh, I want to learn how to well, actually, first I want to learn how to pirate software. Okay, cool. I'm a pirate Photoshop because whoops, there goes that cord. Because paint is expensive. I'd rather fuck around on the computer. And then I'm ooh, this is fun. And then learning more shit and more shit. And then it's ooh, maybe I can charge somebody for this. And then it's oh, okay, cool. You do design? Can you do websites? And of course I can do websites. Google how to do websites and shit like that. Yeah. And then I'm deliver it. And they're cool, it's great. I love it. I'm awesome. I'm not going to tell them that this is my first one I've ever done. I'm practicing on you.
I don't know. I can't do that. I don't have that kind of work ethic. I think for one thing, if I'd be screwed if I promised something and I didn't know how to do it because I wouldn't go learn how to do it right away. I would just
you wait until it's done. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would just be I couldn't even promise something that I couldn't do. It's weird. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm hesitant to when people come to me for commissions and stuff. I find every reason why I can't do it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying to myself and a lot of people, but
well, I mean, you don't want to, because this is a personal relationship and stuff like that.
Right.
And you don't want to, I don't know what's the word, strain it. Yeah, you don't want to strain that relationship.
Spread yourself thin with work.
Yeah, make it some claims that you can't back up, and then ultimately screwing somebody over. Which,
Right.
Yeah, that would be shitty.
Yeah. And I mean, I can totally understand why you would do that, because you're capable of going and learning a program. You know, you're confident
These
enough.
weren't
in your-
people that I was that close with, so I was like, okay, I hope I don't fuck this up,
Gotcha.
but maybe I'm just bad at this. But actually, no, everything went fine.
Gotcha. I need some more of that, though. I need to be a little bit more tenacious in my.
Well,
you know,
I also try to
endeavors.
take like little, like help people out, do little projects and things like that are not, for pay. And like my brother, he wanted to make a music video for his senior project, and he just graduated, and he wanted to like help me like have him edit a song down. And I was like, oh, I don't really know how to do like specific like edit audio clips and stuff like that. But I'm like, fuck it, like I want to learn how to do this like really well and do it right. And so I went and I just taught myself how to do that like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, cool. So now I kind of got that skill in my back pocket. I kind of know how to get in there. And like what I did is I just took the vocals off of a track at certain points.
Right.
And then was able to like loop that back. I was like, okay, cool. That's not really my skill set, but it's like now one more thing
it's
that I know how to do.
crazy though, because these kids that are growing up now are going to be able to do this on their phone. Like since they're growing up with it, and like these functions are just they're so used to it, they're just going to be able to like do that shit on their phone so easily. Like it's like, what the fuck? How did you learn how to do this shit?
There is a part of me that gets like slightly like annoyed, perturbed a little bit when like technology gets so good, and it gets to a point where I'm like,
Everything
damn,
that you've learned is kind of
I used to
obsolete.
take fucking 6 hours to get this right, and it was a masterpiece, and I was like an artisan doing this. I'm seeing why like like a blacksmith would start getting pissed off when like plastic was invented or some shit like that. Like
Right.
it's like, oh man, that is an obsolete skill. And even though I'm still like on to the next thing, it's like I don't want to learn how to do fucking 3D modeling, but like everything is so fucking like easy to do now. I'm just like, shit, any idiot can come in and do what I was doing. So now I gotta change it up, do more.
I'm an idiot. I got to come in and figure out.
Yeah. I got the Daves like kind of ushering in. I'm like, oh man, if he can do it, I need to go back to school.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I'm the worst with technology. I'd rather outsource it.
Yeah.
I'm like good at what I'm good at, like people skills. And when I have to do technology and I'm not familiar with it, I like go crazy.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I'm pretty sure mine diminish significantly when I'm just
Yeah.
like spending too much time there. I think that's fucking everybody's problem. But no, you got to delegate. Learn your strengths. And,
I know.
yeah,
I know.
I don't like
and
that,
then hire
man.
people for what you're not good at.
I learned
Exactly.
that. I learned that when making music for the first time with like Kevin and Joey, and like realizing that everybody does for any good team. You have the different working parts, and sometimes you select those, and then sometimes it just kind of falls into place. And I'd say that that's happened in all of the creative projects that I've been part of. Everybody has like a different thing that they bring to the table, and that's usually just how it works out.
Yeah.
It's good to kind of like be able to have a decent understanding of how all the parts work, at
Right,
least,
yeah.
just so that you know how to delegate it.
But
how
like
you can direct it.
that is a skill in itself, though.
Right.
I am terrible at delegating. I really am. I'm really, really bad at asking for help and learn how to do stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I taught myself how to like wire all this stuff and get the things together.
I'm so
but-
bad at asking.
Yeah,
people shit.
I'm
because
so good at asking people for stuff. I'm so good at like being resourceful and getting
That's
other
a
people to
gift.
how do you
shit.
do that?
That's a
Get
gift.
it all
How do you do
done.
that? That's incredible.
That's like my friend Jonathan, who we've had on the show, who also does want to come back on the show again soon to talk about some of his successes as well. Because, one thing that I've always admired about him is that he just like is not afraid to ask people for stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here I am with
yeah.
all these ideas and everything. And people are, well, why don't you, have you asked about this and that? And, no, well, like, what the fuck is stopping you? And it's like, I don't know. I don't understand like what is literally physically holding me back. I need to outsource to somebody who's good at asking
Yeah,
people
I
to do
got
stuff.
I got you on that. Don't worry, we'll get it done.
So what have you had to, by the way, welcome back to the show. Welcome back. You're one of our few repeats right now. And
Really?
Yeah.
I'm honored.
Yeah, it's cool because this whole thing worked out. I actually ran into Amara at Desert Hearts a couple months ago. Just like she stopped me. I remember slightly. I was like dancing with a couple friends, and she like stopped me. She's like, "Hey!" I was like, "What?" Big surprise. Wasn't expecting to see you there. I mean, not like I was not expecting to see you there, but it was a pleasant surprise. And you told me that you had all this other stuff that you wanted to talk about since then.
Oh, yeah.
Since the last time, and so I was like, bummed that we didn't get a chance to meet up throughout the rest of the festival because, of course, those things get pretty crazy, and you go where you go. But I'm glad that we're here now.
Same.
Yeah, it's crazy. And almost exactly a year later.
Was it really?
Yeah.
That's some trippy shit.
Is it really?
Yeah.
June 28th, 2018.
No way.
Was the last one.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we really only connected because I posted something on Instagram and I put, and the time was 11:33 in the morning.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
I'm all about the angel numbers these days because I'm like on a whole spiritual journey here.
Mm-hmm.
And he messaged me and he's like, angel numbers. And I was like, say bye. But he's like, we have to catch up. He's like, we're doing a podcast. And he's like, yes. I'm like, I want to start a podcast, but I don't really know how. And he's like, come on by. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah. She was saying, she wants to do it. And I said, why the hell not? We can, give you those pointers on that. But
right there. Delegating.
Yeah.
That's a fucking great skill.
Yeah. I've been getting really into like listening to a lot of podcasts, and I was actually just listening to one on my way over. This girl, Angie Lee. She basically like dropped out of college, started a blog, and now she's like under 30 and she's like a millionaire, and she considers herself like a combination of like Tony Robbins and Ellen DeGeneres.
Okay.
And she
I feel
just
like I've heard that name.
Yeah. So she was just, I was listening to a podcast and it was basically like, people are so nervous to like start things because they think they want to be perfect. But if you're perfect at it when you start, you probably should have started earlier.
Yeah.
Shit.
And then they're like, and then they were saying that, one of the guy that was interviewing her said he went back to his top 5 favorite podcasters and listened to their first couple episodes and they were like not good at all.
Oh, garbage. Yeah.
So that gave me some hope and encourage.
Oh man,
dude, that's exactly that's the journey. That's fucking beautiful.
Exactly.
I feel like we all went through like kind of similar, journeys to kind of get to the place where we're at, where we've been actually doing one. But
right.
yeah, no, it's motivating, it's inspiring. Like really, more than anything else, I feel like podcasts have been like the more than any movie or TV show or anything like that. The things that have like made me want to actually had real changes in my life.
Exactly. I'm so into. I just drove down here from Marina Del Rey. And I was like, I don't even care.
Thank you.
I was like, I don't even care because I listen to all my podcasts. I don't even care about long drives anymore. It's just so educational.
Yeah.
And something when you're listening to something that you're really interested in or that you can relate to, it's like I can drive for hours.
But that
absolutely, yeah.
That wall that you're talking about, that fucking wall that is the idea of perfection. That's like the wall, the beyond the wall of great, the northern wall in Game of Thrones, made of ice, and then on the out of it has spikes and shit. Just like it's impossible almost sometimes to get over this idea of perfection that like holds you back from getting shit started, getting shit done. You're just like, no, you want it to be perfect. And then it is so true when you look back at like the things that you thought. Well, I see it when I look back and I think at the things that in the moment I was cringing at, like being such a perfectionist in my head. You look back and you're like, that was actually pretty fucking cool. When you look at it, you have to try to put yourself in someone else's shoes watching this for the first time. Like if it was, just somebody else other than you, would you be super critical on them?
Yeah.
Probably not. You'd probably there clapping them off and like, saying like, not clapping them off. That sounds like a
no. You clap. That's what I do.
Just
That's my radio. Yeah.
Do you do to yourself? Yeah. At the end of the night,
just clap them off like the Apollo or some shit. Yeah.
I wonder what would like come up if you search that in a porn thing or something. It'd probably just be like twerking and clap off.
Oh,
like,
a clap off.
I would be scared
yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. There's already some crazy shit on there, but yeah,
it's really great to always like to listen to. I mean, when I first started listening to podcasts, I'm like, oh, here's all these like people who I really admire, people who are like doing really cool things, and then like, oh, they got this show, and like, oh, it was so personal, it was so intimate, sitting down with somebody just being themselves for like an hour, 2 hours sometimes, over and over again. You're like, oh shit, you get to know like all little like things that they think, all the insecurities that they have and shit like that, and nothing was more freeing than that.
Yeah,
because it's like, oh shit, I fucking think you're a god. And you feel exactly the same way about doing your shit as I was about doing mine?
Right.
Oh shit, well I guess if we're all feeling this way, fuck it, might as well.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what you said about like the journey. It's like everybody goes through shit in life. Like I'm going through a breakup now and like just like
I'm sorry.
Going through like a bunch of shit, and then I'm like listening to all these podcasts about like people who want to start their own business, which I want to do too, and people who went through breakups. But all these people who are successful now all went through that stuff, and that's why they're so easily relatable to, because you're on this journey and then there's a light at the end of the tunnel when you go against your fears and you you apply this mindset and you just fight through it, and then you come out on top.
Yeah.
But some people will just quit. And then that's the difference between certain people.
And then you gotta manifest it.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
So that is getting close to it. I was going back and kind of like reading through notes and kind of listening to our last conversation a little bit, just to kind of like get caught up and refreshed and stuff like that. And so, I mean, this is your talk show, man. This is what you're talking about.
To the Amara show.
Well,
so train yourself up. Like, this is it. This is
what's your podcast idea?
Well, so I've always wanted to. I always joked around and said I'm gonna have a show and it's gonna be a combination of Ellen DeGeneres and Oprah. And I was like, I'm gonna have all these different sectors, like health and fitness, like philanthropy, blah blah blah. And then I was like, taking all these corporate jobs. Like I was selling flooring. Now I'm working for a real estate investment company. And everyone's always like, what are you doing to get yourself there? And I'm like, nothing. I have to pay my bills. I have to do this and that. And so I told you how I went on that retreat to Tulum and I learned all about manifestation. Well, I finally was like, I want to be location dependent. I want to, teach other people to manifest. I want to travel all over the world. I want to work for myself and just spread positivity to everybody. And I was like, okay, so I hired a life coach and now she's helping me build an online business and I'm calling it a manifestation, manifestation.
That's fucking cool.
I am upset that I didn't think of that. Damn it.
But so I was doing that, but then I also have my real estate investment job that I work for, which I work remotely, but
and you're still doing that.
It's still a full-time job and whatever. And then I just got hit with a breakup of the person I thought was going to be my soulmate.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear
and that. So, but it kind of, I feel relieved because he lives in New York. I live in LA and I don't want to go back to New York.
I was going to ask, yeah.
And I actually learned through this whole breakup that he thought my life coaching thing was a pyramid scheme and that all my manifestation stuff is bullshit and I can't just be making these wish lists and I'm not a hard worker because I go to yoga too much and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, this is not the person that I was on the same page with anymore. So
wait, he said that because you're going to yoga, you're not getting shit done?
Yeah.
You don't even have time for yoga in life?
Yeah. I go at 6:30 in the morning and then because I was traveling so much, I was only in LA 7 days a month.
Yeah. So
when I was back in LA, I was trying to go twice a day because I just have not been on my fitness grind. So I go at 6:30 in the morning and then I would go at 6 p.m. or 7:15 p.m. So I'd get all my stuff done between. And he's just I was we're totally just not on the same page. And then he spoke to my aunt and told my aunt that I spent 20 grand on this life coach, which is totally not true. And then my mom's calling me and she's you're not going to make a lot of money doing this, blah, blah, blah. You should really, blah, blah, blah. And then, so I just got shit on that this past weekend.
Oh no.
So I just been in a really dark place, but listening to all these encouraging podcasts or all these people who have been through breakups and heart-wrenching things and, people who doubted them. And so it's been interesting, but still, when you go through a breakup, it fucking sucks.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
You don't want to wake up in the morning and you kind of just blow off everything.
Yeah.
So I just told my life coach today, I was we need to pause this because I need to kind of just get my life together right now. Because also it's if you're working all day for your current job, you don't want to sit home and work all day for another job. I kind of was just wanting to go out and be social and obviously this is helping me with what I want to do, but there's just a lot of work to be done. And I only have a certain amount of time with her. So I was I just need to reboot.
Yeah.
For a couple weeks.
It's very essential because I, for one, don't even realize the amount of pressure that I put on myself by just simply not taking those few days to reset.
Yeah.
And I've been learning this really hard and I kind of did have to take a step back. It still wasn't even enough, I think, but I was doing, events constantly. For me, every single day of the week, there is something to do in a way of either supporting friends that are, doing something by going to their show or by working an event or, working 8 hours in the gallery all day, doing this other stuff, having to do this job. And then at the same time, trying to figure out how you're going to bring all your artistic endeavors together to actually make something that works, to make something that is successful, because you could have all these dreams, but you also have to have a plan. So
right.
you got a life coach that is helping you with your specific thing. For me, it's a little bit more broad because I still have, I guess, the vision is building on itself, but it really isn't as definitive as that. It's kind of just trying to figure out what it is. So that there's that pressure. And then not to mention, the pressures of so aside from the breakup, your parents, or your family, like being like, what are you doing? Like what you're like, the assumptions because of that generation gap too, which is always like, you're going through a phase, or you're thinking like you're thinking kind of crazy and life isn't about doing what you want to do. Like my dad, it's kind of always like he bought into that when he was younger, and he really believes that. And I think that, it's something that people, they make a choice at a certain point. Like, is this what I want to do? And is this just what I'm going to do? Like, and he ended up, working hard and working. But he says, like, you're not going to find a job that you really want to do. Nobody wants to do their job. That's why it's work, but you do it and you work hard at it. And it's just like, I could never, sit back and just take that. Like, I don't understand when, why would you sacrifice and work your ass off just to put me in a position for the same thing? Why wouldn't I use my privileges, if you will, because that's what they are. I'm,
absolutely,
I'm blessed. And why wouldn't I use those to try to meet all of these different things? And Olivia, I think, said it like, am I doing something that fulfills me, as well as somehow trying to make the world a better place, while also making money somehow,
right?
And
exactly.
So how do I do all of these things and make it happen? And that's, building that is not going to be, because the risk is greater, so the reward's greater, and most people don't take those risks.
Exactly,
and so that's why convincing anybody outside that, doesn't come up with you on your vision is difficult. And it's almost, you just really have to, be passive enough and understanding and find ways to affirm like your beliefs and what you're going to go through, while just being able to not let that shit get under your skin and let it dig at you, because it does. I know that it does. The pressures of that, the boyfriend, and as much as I hate to say it, at one point in time, I was the way that your ex-boyfriend or your boyfriend was with my ex to a certain ex-boyfriend was with my ex at the time, I wasn't to a place anywhere near where I am now in terms of like wanting to pursue certain things, or even a lot of the beliefs that I have, the things that I've come to believe over the years and feel strongly about. At the time, I was like a fucking, just one of those people. So it's interesting because I can't hold it too hard against people like that, because I see myself in them. But anyway,
there's a certain degree, it's like not, anybody's all the way right or all the way wrong in either of these situations. I'm saying like, it's when you're thinking about these things that fulfill your soul, like these very grand things that like are about what you want to do in this life, you know, who you want to be as a person.
Right.
It's always important to pursue those, but like the actual practical applications of living life don't always line up with those goals. And it's important to, I think, do the work, not for the reward, but for yourself.
Exactly.
You got to find the balance between chaos and order.
I mean, we do this podcast not because we're trying to get famous, not because we're trying to get rich or anything like that.
But we are famous.
I mean, we are famous and rich, but that's just happenstance, okay?
Hell yeah.
No, but it's like, it's there's so much value in this and doing the work. It's some shit that we believe in. It's some things that we really enjoy doing.
But it puts actions into motion. There's a lot of talk. Do it, be about it. Don't talk about it, be about it.
Right.
But a lot of the time, talking about it does set things into motion too. It can. It doesn't always, but it definitely, just like manifestation. If you wake up in the morning, you can rewire your brain by giving being grateful for something. They say scientifically that is like proven to make your life better.
Yeah.
If you like wake up and you focus on things that are positive and things that you're grateful for and happy about.
Other people hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this show happens, if it's just one of us.
No.
We're accountable for each other, and I feel like that makes it so much easier to stay consistent and keep up with it, like keep doing it, and like keep pushing forward, because that's the hardest part. It's I mean, the really hard part is starting it, but then keeping it up and finishing it, like that is, I mean, that's just as difficult.
Very much so. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's definitely important to be about mindset. Like you could sit there, like I could sit there and play the victim. I'm miserable. I'm stressed. Or, I mean, there's always things to be grateful for in life and have a different outlook on life. Like, now I don't have to do long distance and now my options are open. And where's like ask the universe, like what's in store for me, or like if you just shift like the way that you wire your brain, it like opens up your mind and like the possibilities. And you see people out there like living these crazy lives where they are remote and they are traveling the world and they are living these insane lives. So obviously it's possible. But other people who stay, you know, down there and they close their mind, that's why they're living maybe a different life than you. So it's good to open up your mind and see what possibilities are out there, because magic can fucking happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. It's hard. It's not easy. It's work. That's why so many people don't do it. You know,
exactly.
So many people just want to be like, oh, okay, well, this is what I believe. I'm stuck in it.
Yeah.
And I am just going to take that to my grave and shit like that. And those people don't offer themselves any opportunity to grow. And you're hurting yourself when you're not doing that kind of stuff.
Manifestation.
So
what would it would you have guests on every time, or you know?
So I mean, like I'd really be getting into podcasts, so I was just like, and then I was like, wow, I've just been listening to them a lot to learn, just to expand my knowledge base. And then I was like, wait a minute, I want to have a podcast. Like this would be so great, like talk about different topics relating to people, like whatever you're going through. So, but I don't still even like know the logistics, but you'd probably want to, you know, have someone else on there so you can like go back and forth and everything like that, spit some ideas and share some thoughts and everything like that. But I'm still like, it's all preliminary. And
so who are some of your favorites? As you were saying, you've been listening to people to kind of study, and like, who have you thought that you would like to kind of go off of their playbook a little bit?
I've been listening to this girl, Reagan Hillier. She's from Australia, and she like went from like being like in debt to and like depressed, and to like, you know, now she's like a multimillionaire, like traveling the world, found her soulmate, like is super successful, and she's one. And this other woman, I forget her full name, Barbara, but she's like a whole relationship expert, and she brings in all these people who have been through, you know, divorces and problems, who are now like famous people who are just, you know, figured it out and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I'm just been like, it's like new to me, but I've been listening to that girl, Angie Lee, for a while. And I'm actually she hosts this thing called Pays to Be Brave in San Diego, which is like a mini like Tony Robbins seminar. And it's like a huge network of all these people who want to like start their own thing. And I'm going and I'm staying in this house with these girls that I don't even know. And this girl who's like also started her own business. So that'll be like a really cool experience.
How did you meet? So awesome. Is there like a forum out there or something that you guys all, like a fan page or like...
Yeah, so I just started because my life coach told me about Angie Lee. So I started listening to Angie Lee, and I was actually listening to her podcast, and she had as a guest the girl whose trip I went on to Tulum. And I was like, oh my God, Lena, that's so funny. And then I messaged the girl Angie, and I was like, you know Lena? And she goes, yeah, oh my God, come to Pays to Be Brave in San Diego. And I was like, I'm available. I'm going to come. And then I went in, she has a Facebook group, and then the Facebook group, this girl posted about like this, it's like they have a chef and like coaching sessions and everything all included in the thing. And I was like, sign me up. Like, so that's happening in October. So we'll see.
Right on.
But it could just be like a cool networking experience.
I'm just kind of
honestly, man, just say yes to everything, man. Really, just do it. You know, just say yes to all the weird shit. You know, these things. Just walk into the room and just assert yourself. Yeah. Like you never know what could happen to that.
Right. What? Where is this at again?
This is in San Diego.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Little day trip, if anything,
like,
you know?
Yeah, I mean, I have to go to work for San Diego. I have to go to San Diego for work anyway, so I just go there, get my meetings done, and then it's like from Friday to Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, what you have right now is pretty cool, though, like being able to work remotely.
Yeah.
That's something that I definitely can't wait to do. I'm already going to start putting money away. Probably not very well, because I've never ever been good at saving money. Like I'm terrible at it. That's why I'm counting on like marrying somebody who's like good with money. So like I'll just give them my money, and they can take care of me. Like don't give me like I am no shame in my game. I'll like have them give me an allowance just because I don't trust myself with money. Like if I got money, it's gone. Like we know how bad I am with money.
Right. Oh yeah.
And so this is not. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. I don't want to keep going into how bad I am with money. Yeah, date me everybody, because I'm terrible with money. But no. I, totally forgot exactly where I was going.
You want to work remotely.
Oh yeah, because I mean, doing this whole thing, well, the creative stuff, you're going to be traveling and doing stuff anyways, but I have no idea where I'll end up with that, you know? And so I imagine that if I do what I want to do, I will be able to work wherever the fuck I want because I'll be my own boss.
Exactly.
But right now, you know, if I can find something outside of what I'm doing now in between to kind of learn for like the next step, because what I've gotten into in the last few years, unplanned, what I kind of just fell into, and took the opportunity for this part-time job that ended up turning into something that opened up a huge gateway to like what I'm into now, what I'm passionate about, and that is art, you know, and animation and stuff that like I never really, like as a kid you think like, oh, how cool would it be to like make a cartoon, and you know, you never actually think that you would do it, just like anything else, like making an album or, you know, all of these things that we're able to do now. So it's really cool where I ended up. However, I'm just at a point where I think I've gotten about what I need from that. Yeah. And like sitting behind a desk for 40 hours a week when I'm used to being on the road and doing that stuff, which is essential, you know, and part of the angel numbers, you know, the things we're talking about. The one thing that I always see a lot is like 333 or 1133. But whenever you see the 333, you know, whether you believe in this or not, this is something that I trip out on, because the 333 is supposed to mean like, you know, you're just supposed to be mindful of the mind, body, and spirit. Yeah. So like you can't be doing too much of one and neglecting the others. And often when I see that, it's at a time where it's like, whoa, I'm indulging so fucking much on like social media right now, and I'm just like sucked in, and every part of my brain was telling me, maybe you should go for a walk, maybe you should stretch, maybe you should do these things, like, you know, take care of yourself instead of just like allowing yourself to get sucked in. And you know, being at this job is kind of like that, where it's cool, you know, I've learned a lot, but I want to get back out there. I want to like travel now. I want to expand. I want to be able to do what I love doing, but on the go. And so, that's
and something that I learned is like, you're like, I didn't realize like that I'm intuitive, but like my body like started telling me for the past 6 months, like something's not right. And then it kind of clicked that like, okay, I'm leading my life with my brain and not my heart. And like, I think I'm doing this job because it's going to make me a lot of money. And so I like came up with this idea. Like it was like a week, like evolution of my mind saying like, oh my God, I need to start my own company, Manifestation. And then like, I could be location independent, help people, and all this kind of stuff. It makes so much sense, and all my dots are connecting. And then, did
it feel like it just came to you like all at once, like a flood of just like inspiration and kind of almost like a given like understanding of how, or a vision, you know, just like a vision, like it came to you?
I started having like really bad anxiety, like off the charts, bad anxiety, and I didn't know if it was because of my job, and then I was stressing about flying to meet my boyfriend, to see him frequently, and like we would travel a lot, but I was just not like, because our plan was to live half New York, half LA, and the rest around the world. And he has this multi-million-dollar architect firm in New York, so he can't just like come here. So I've been trying to get him some jobs out here, and nothing has been sticking, and it was just a lot of anxiety. And I was like, all right, I got to do this. But then I didn't also realize like, I think I intuitively realized that like him and I were kind of disconnecting, because I was going down the spiritual path, and he's like more like business. Right. And so my body was just like telling me like, no. And I started speaking to like all these different like spiritual healers or life coaches. And one of them, she read my aura, because I did like this Reiki class, and I met this girl, and you know, Marquis Wyatt?
The DJ.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah.
So I did a Reiki class, and I met this girl, Nikki Harden, and she's like, I've been seeing spirits since I was young. And she was like, I can read your aura. So she read my aura, but Marquis Wyatt actually goes to her and did this like 21-day like cleanse from her. And I was like, oh my gosh,
what?
She's got to be legit. And I saw Marquis at a party one night, and I was like, Marquis, and he remembered me from like Desert Hearts.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, oh my God, I did a reading with Nikki, blah, blah, blah. But she's the one that told me like, I think you're living your life with your head and not your heart. She's like, I want you to go do something artistic. And then like literally it was like a week long like evolution of my mind. I was like, oh my God. And it like clicked together.
Shit. Is it Marquis? I would call him Marcus Wyatt.
Yeah,
Marquis. She called him Marquis.
I think you're right.
Well,
because I've heard that name.
Yeah?
Like seen it spelled exactly the same way. Yeah. It's been Marquis. I just called it. Okay, yeah.
It would make sense, because then there's also another DJ, Wyatt Marshall, who I always get confused with him, but he's kind of newer, I think, on the scene. Yeah. But I always said Marcus Wyatt too, because everybody else always said it.
Yeah.
But we met him with I don't know if you were with us, me and Mackenzie. We met him at Woogie like 2 years ago.
That sounds about right.
Something like
yeah,
that.
he's
Anyways.
I mean, I've camped next to the like at Desert Hearts, next to like where they have their tour buses and stuff, and they're always walking around.
Yeah.
But I remember it was really funny. I think I saw him trying to back out a huge ass bus in this like tiny area, and it was just like totally like a Austin Powers like
Oh my god.
in the hallway sort of thing. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. Oh no, just go back to what.
Anyway,
you were
so
saying.
yeah, so I had I'm on a whole spiritual journey right now where I'm like, I did Reiki by accident. I didn't know what the hell it was. Have you guys ever done Reiki?
I
Never
know.
done it, but-
I've never actually had a session. Well, it's hard to say because I've had a bunch of people tell me that they do Reiki and then they've done like, I guess you would call them ceremonies, but they're very different from each other. And so I don't really know. I'm still kind of unaware of to what it is exactly. I do, but go on.
It's like this, like it's like a Japanese, like ancient, like healing that you could literally heal people with. Like the source comes through you and you can heal another person. Like I have the power of Reiki now because I did this one. But there's like 3 different stages that you go to like get Reiki certified. But like this guy would like these people would actually heal like people with cancer and MS and like all this kind of stuff. And like anxiety and all this crazy stuff, and you feel it, you physically feel it, and I felt someone's aura. It's crazy. You should go check it out somewhere. But I did a Reiki, and then like I've been doing like these breathwork classes where you breathe like in through your stomach, in through your chest, and out through your mouth for anywhere from like half an hour to an hour. And these have healed like people with like, this guy got into a car accident, he couldn't move his hand for a while, and after his class he was able to move his hand, and like it's just like it's healing and it sucks out all this negative energy out of you. And I've been doing that and like sound baths with like Reiki infused, and like I'm just doing like all these crazy.
Have you ever done
things.
Kundalini?
No, what's that?
The yoga. So like, it's really like it's more focused and not on the like stretching aspect as much as it is on like a meditation and like doing this
intense breath work.
Fire, breath of fire is what it's called. And so it's like you're literally like take the deepest breath, and it's just like a like you're supposed to just do that. And I mean, I've tried it, but like, man, my stomach. I
feel like I've gotten like a little bit of that because they say, you know, it's a all natural way to like kind of trip you out, like give you a little bit of a high too.
Oh yeah.
And so and I feel like I've tried that a little bit. And I feel like it kind of was working. I was like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah. If I like, you know, knew somebody who would show me how to do this, like for real, of what I was doing right and wrong, I feel like this could work because I feel like it almost had something.
Well, we already know that breath work in general is like Matt Abrams was on the show, and he's a body worker, and he was saying, you know, like the simplest things that can cure or, you know, prevent so many of these things that we have going wrong with us is our breathing. And we don't even realize that. Like we have so much stale breath in our he said, you know, one thing he suggested to do is to make sure that when you're mindful of your breath too, sometimes take in a smaller breath and let go of a much deeper one, because then it's about what you're getting rid of.
I still do that every day.
Really?
I swear that was a life-changing fucking thing that
I
just blew my mind there, and I do it all the time.
I remember to do it. Like I forget.
I know. I don't breathe. I don't breathe.
I
don't breathe at all.
Yeah.
So if you guys are ever in LA, or actually this guy Rob Starbuck, he used to be in sales, and he's like got into he teaches like breathing all around. He gets flown all around. But he does these incredible breathwork classes. I go to this place, Sanctum LA, right off Venice. They do all this really cool stuff, but it's a trippy experience. And he's like, so some of the reason that people get cancer, they have all these sicknesses because nobody's breathing, and you have all this built up negative energy inside of you. And if you just breathe, you can clear it all out and clear out your mind. And
wow,
it's really crazy.
Yeah, it actually is like it does trip me out. I was a massive skeptic of like that kind of thing for a very long time, and you know, and to some degree, like I'm not all the way there yet. You know, it is, you have to be willing to accept that kind of stuff for it to really take hold. You know, and so it is a very difficult kind of balance because both people have to be like kind of on that same frequency.
Magic won't exist for people who don't believe in it.
I mean, that is kind of exactly it. You know, like that's what brings Tinkerbell to life, and that's what actually can make this stuff really make a difference in people's lives. And I've seen that shit. You know, it's actually really crazy. Like, are you guys ever familiar with Wim Hof?
No.
The Iceman. He's this really like, I mean, this mind-blowing dude, and I've seen things on camera, and they've like studied him like with
actual scientists or something.
Like yeah, he like freezes himself and like, you know, hikes the Andes in like shorts and stuff like that. He can he holds his breath for incredibly long times, and like the things that he is able to, like, he has kind of like figured out how to just hack the human body in ways that like we kind of didn't think were possible.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you know, and he credits like the way his breath and a lot of the things that he sees and believes and like this stuff. Like there's so much more to everything out there that we don't fully understand or know. And I personally believe that like a lot of these different you know, fields of study and things like that, you know, they're all probably tapping into something similar, you know, or the same.
Right.
I'm not 100% a believer in all this stuff in exactly the way that it is shown sometimes, but there is undoubtedly something to it.
Right. Well,
and you can go talk to people who like have been healed by this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, however you want to explain it or not, there is no denying that like they went to this stuff and they feel better. Like the things are done and gone, you know.
I mean, there's age-old tales of like these practices working in a lot of ways, and I don't think that it's going to be that way for everything. And I don't think that, you know, I think that the reason why there's so much resistance is because if something doesn't work out or goes wrong, you know, it builds up a whole thing of skepticism to where people, I think there's a fear of like wanting to even accept it and see what you can do with your mind. But a simple thing that proved to me, like just another thing that proved to me like what you can put your body through, you know, on top of just all of these stories throughout history of people doing crazy shit like what you were saying, that guy in the Andes, or people like going in water, even though that's considered like magic or whatever, but like all these other things that show how people can heal with like the power of their own mind. But if you would have told me over a year ago that somebody could go like 10 days, like one of us regularly without eating any food, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, you know? And I mean, I could have just looked up and seen that it is possible and that people have done it. But I'm talking like an average person going throughout their day, go 10 days without eating any food. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Until I fucking said, my friend, you know, posted it and he said he did it. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try that. And I did it. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, and you see how it transforms everything else. I'm trying to get back, not to not eating 10 days for 10 days, but to get back to the point that I had to do that to get to, which was like, you know, not craving the bad stuff, like
discipline,
not, you know, the discipline. And, you know, it's really easy to fall off track when you're going back to back to back to
just
festivals.
Life.
Yeah,
There's so much shit that is
Right.
just easily distracting and get you off track. It happens to all of us.
Exactly. And so, you know, that was something that just made me realize like the power of our mind and how even within myself, how I've been able to over the years completely see things from such a different way. And because I've done it so many times and shifted my perspective, it's harder for me to like, you know, it's hard for me, almost impossible for me to just like take any one person's account of how everything is supposed to be, you know, to believe that there's just one way.
Right.
I think that it is all connected, all of these different things that perhaps contradict each other, you know, and I do believe that paradoxes make sense if you learn that our capacity for understanding them based on our human logic, it fails us, because as humans, like we've developed this whole system of logic that, you know, only serves our senses that we are capable of perceiving.
Exactly.
You know, when we know scientifically that there are things right here among us that we can't see or perceive. You know, there's energy, there are electric currents, there's fucking things going on beyond this world. I mean, even with psychedelics, I've seen stuff that I was like, okay, it's not just even like, you know, the typical waves and distortion of things that can easily be like said, oh, well, you're tripping, that's what it does, you know, does this to your brain and whatever. I'm talking about very, very specific like frequencies that all of a sudden appear. It's almost like you're watching, you know, a hologram, but like it's a world among us with these crazy things that I've seen depicted in other you know, works of art later, you know. So it's a non-biased thing too. It's not like my mind was trying to tell me something that I already saw somewhere else. It was like I had no idea what this was. And anyway, it's really crazy knowing that, because it's hard to believe any one thing, but I also don't judge anybody else if they're on a certain point in their life and they believe that one thing is the right way to be. Right. Because they're going to they might not, but you know, they'll get to that level of understanding that I was at, because I've been there too. You know, I've thought, well, no, it's this way.
Well, I feel like everybody biologically is different. Certain people react to certain things different ways. Like that is just undoubtedly true. Like people are unique in a lot of ways. And I feel like almost like your mentality and the way that you take in certain things and digest certain things. Like I feel like that is also the same. Not everything's going to work for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's the only constant is that it's going to take work to figure out what exactly your thing is, And we should always be trying to do that, trying to strive for to better ourselves in whatever way that's going to make it possible.
Right.
And it might be, for some people, it might be like a very logical, orderly, make money, do this, like the very classic, nuclear family kind of thing. And that's all good. And for other people, it's not. And if you see yourself going down that way, and I think that's one of the most important skills that we can all learn as people is to learn to understand when your life is being led by your brain and not by your heart.
Yeah.
That is crucial. That is, how many stories do we hear? How many people do we know who have done that and they're getting to the middle or towards the end of their life and being like, shit, I should have listened to that.
Last night for me, my boss, the guy who owns the restaurant that I work at, as I was talking to him and he said, yeah, just busy 7 days a week. He's like, oh man, if I feel you, he's like, I was doing that, but now he's like, I've just been taking vacations. I just go. And he's like, because I told him, I go, yeah, I'm paying off a lot of stuff. I've, had some fun. I've traveled. He's like, that's good. You need to. He looked at me with like these dead honest eyes. Like you could just tell like he was, just, and he was like shaking his head because you could tell just the thought of it himself was giving him a feeling where he was just like, because one day you're gonna get to dying and you're just gonna think, what the hell did I do with all of that time that I had?
The world's a crazy fucking place, man. Yeah. We do not know what is around the corner.
Especially, and here's the thing is I think that it's becoming so much more evident to so many people that we have been in the midst of a very, very large shift in just everything. The way we're going to start to be, paradigms are shifting at a rapid rate. Like we're going to be like just fucking looking at things in a completely different way. There's black holes that are, proven to exist now, and things that were just like thought to be science fiction folklore from however long ago, and just all kinds of stuff that's crazy. That's
the byproduct of big data. We're all able to talk to each other, to share our experiences and our feelings and stuff like that, starting to be able to start to recognize some of the commonalities and realize, oh shit, maybe shit is still real weird, and we are way more confident in what we think we know than what there actually is to know.
I think that is the thing, is that we've developed and grown at such a rapid rate. When you look at history, you look at however many thousands of years we've existed on the planet, or millions of years, or whatever. I don't know. And when we started really advancing technologically, and that would probably be since the Industrial Revolution, or since we were able to start using technology for things like real technology.
And we're on track right now to double the gigantic expanse of what the Industrial Revolution was, in the next 20 years or so.
Yeah, they said a couple years ago that within the decade we would advance more, doubled from the amount that we did from 1859 up until the present day. And that's so fucking insane, but yet very believable to think about when you look at the fucking phone. We were alive when the phone wasn't,
it was attached to the wall.
When it was exactly, when we didn't even have a cell phone.
Now we just have little mini computers that
we
have
carry around with us.
That's
but they are, somebody
literally have the world's knowledge.
Somebody was talking about how these are essentially some crazy theory about the merge with consciousness between humans and AI, the singularity.
We have achieved it. We're living in it right now.
Yeah, so that this is essentially the startup of that, because of how much we rely on this and need this, and how much it serves us, because it literally is, for most of the day, if we're on it, we're looking at it, it's programmed to remember shit that we're and patterns even more so than we can identify within ourselves. We're like, okay, well, you did this and this and this, and somebody, or I was talking in the last episode, I think, or 2 episodes ago, about the about that article I read where some tech a founder of a tech company was predicting that within 20 years we would have these things called Google chips implemented into the brains. And I mean, at first, I think it would be more for people that like need maybe with like Alzheimer's or dementia or other, you know, things that have, you know, that makes it difficult for them to remember things. And that way, like with these chips, we would supposedly be able to have the memory of a computer.
Wow.
Which is, you know, on one end, when you're looking at it, it would seem to so many people as like an amazing breakthrough, but then it's also a very horrifying fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like a very, very terrifying thing. Because why would you put anything in your brain?
Yeah.
Why would you trust any device, you know, to like control or have an influence on your thoughts?
Yeah.
I mean,
But we already do.
I'm sure this is as quaint as somebody being like, why would you let somebody bring a television into your home, put a machine in
That's
there,
my
like in the
point.
60s and stuff like that,
That's
too.
what I'm saying.
This shit everything gets shockingly normal
Right.
really fast.
Yeah.
You know? There's a lot of things that are like going on right now that are fucking not
Yeah.
normal and shouldn't be considered that way, but just they are.
Yeah.
It is kind of, it's amazing and a little bit terrifying. Like the ability for, you know, our own psyche to just rationalize things and adapt, and the like, see, they're already fucking listening.
Dude,
They're trying
Going
to
off over
disconnect
there.
us.
That's how I know I'm on to something, because these motherfuckers are talking.
what
to
did
me.
she just say? Did she say something about
She
disconnect?
said Galaxy S6 is disconnected, which she usually says, but I'm taking that as code right now.
I'm taking that as a
gonna
sign of
murder
this
you.
bitch
They're
being like,
listening.
I'm listening.
I'm
you
watching
motherfucker.
you.
Have you
Alexa.
seen this? By the way, I'm gonna get off topic for a second because I'm surprised I hadn't seen it. But have you seen Legion on FX?
No.
It's
The X-Men thing?
I don't know if it's the X-Men thing. It might be. It's a Dark Horse comic from a Dark Horse comic, I think.
Okay.
It doesn't, you wouldn't be able to tell like it's a comic book movie or a show, I'm sorry, from it, but it kind of goes into this. It's kind of like if Maniac met Doctor Who, because it's about this guy who can like, he's telepathic, but he could also like time travel, but he has this crazy gift that he doesn't even know, and it's a mind fuck for sure. But it kind of goes into this whole world of like the singularity and like consciousness transcending our physiological states, and you know, pretty soon they might be able to extract it and put them into robots. And so that's going to be the thing, like, well, what's the difference? It's consciousness, and now it's just a different vessel other than a human body.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just really learning to kind of rethink everything that we thought we've known. I mean, just unlearning shit's probably one of the other, like, you know, best skill that you can get, because that not only translates in a real practical way in all of our own lives, in that like it's breaking up the routines and things like that, things that make us comfortable.
Right.
You know, a lot of times
Things that certain people might have been programmed by to function at is no longer
the path
it's obsolete,
at,
and so that's what's
that
it's like a rejection sort of between these programs that are like they're getting updated and some are getting left behind. That's one interesting way to look at it, I think. And I was talking to this lady who brought up a really interesting point about, and it goes along with the manifestation. You know, we are our thoughts. We are what we create this world based on what we put out there into the universe with art, with thoughts. To get, once you put something out there, an idea, and people start thinking about it more collectively, then things start to go into motion. And she was saying, you know, how movies and stuff like these post-apocalyptic or dystopic societies, these movies that portray all these really dark things happening, are actually bad for us, because even though they're entertaining and scary and horrifying, it's sort of shaping the way people perceive the world and kind of make it actually come true, kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh man, yeah, you just hit on something that I just so believe in, and that like art imitates life and like intention, manifestation. You know, it's a fucking double-edged sword. You know, it's a thing that cuts both ways. If your mentality is so negative when you're doing things, if you live your life like, oh, you know, everybody's about to fuck me over, so I'm gonna be the first one, you know, then it's like, oh shit, well, you kind of make that to be true, and your world conforms, you know, even if it's in little subtle ways, to, you know, the way that you see it, you know.
I was thinking about that today. I was like, this whole June gloom thing, I was like, we all probably created that, and everyone keeps saying June gloom. So now we have June gloom every June. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, that shit's that shit does suck because it
Well,
does happen.
I feel like we actually did create that.
We
like,
probably
on a,
did.
on a global warming, tip. But that's a whole.
my mom says, I go, it went over into May this year, and she goes, gray May June.
gray.
Mom, stop saying that.
Yeah,
It's because it rhymes.
Don't make it happen.
It's so true. It's so
But then
funny.
it does become true because enough people rhyme it, and rhymes are catchy, and people cry. That's why I still have, I can still hear a fucking Blink-182 song from like, track 8 that like not one of the popular ones. It still know all the words. I'm like, God damn it, why do I know this shit?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So what, you're taking a break now, a much needed break for yourself from the life coach you're going down to San Diego when?
No, so I'm
In
going
October.
I'm going to San Francisco. I'm going to San Francisco Thursday night, and then my friend Chelsea LC and Lucretia are going to up like near Sacramento to do like this kind of retreat thing.
Is that
like,
2 or 3 people?
It's 4 of us.
Oh, okay. So
And
Chelsea.
we're going to do
Chelsea.
I don't even know what it's going to be, but it's supposed to be like pretty trippy. So we're doing that, and then I'm taking Sunday night. I'm taking a red eye to New York, and then I'm going to be working in my office all week, and I have a conference, and then I have my best friend's wedding, and then I come back here, and then I have it's July 4th, and I have my friend's another wedding. So after that, I'll probably just I'm just going to take this mental break, and then I'll probably just hop back on.
That's a
it.
good.
Also,
healthy-
it is important to have perspective and realize that your life is still pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful,
Yeah.
and I know how great my life is. But when you're in a dark place, you're like,
There,
Sure.
But that's what it's like. I could sit there and say I'm depressed every day, or I could be like, this is so great. Look at my life. I'm waking up in California and coming, doing this. And so it's all about perspective and the way that you look at it. And
Because doesn't it make you feel instantly better once you say that and really mean it?
Yeah,
Once you
yeah.
really think of something you're grateful for, because then it was like, well, yeah, what the fuck am I tripping on about this stuff? It's not permanent.
and also gratitude is apparently the highest frequency. So when you send that out, it raises your vibration and everything like that, and you attract more of that into your life.
Oh man,
I think that's incredibly important too.
at Desert Hearts, that's the word I gave to. So did you go into that tent called the Forgotten Fort? So they added a new thing this year, and it was like a circus, and it was over by where the food court is, but on the other side there's you go in, and it was the coolest thing, just all this weird type art stuff, very theatrical, but they had one station where a girl was dressed in the Gatsby era days and 1920s and shit, and she was behind this little old vintage typewriter and would write you poems on the spot.
Oh my God.
And so I sat down with her, and she was like, so what, just give me a word that you're feeling. And I said, I was just super fucking stoked at the moment on everything and how everything was playing out. I said gratitude. And she wrote me the dopest little poem that was so spot on to everything, and it was just fucking awesome, and I have it framed at my house.
That's
right
amazing.
now too.
I'm so upset I missed this.
But no, I know I almost missed it because I was there all weekend and didn't realize that the poem thing was going on. I had to go back and get that. But that moment of her writing me that poem and taking it home and framing it up, honestly, I've been writing a poem every single day for the month of June, because I used to write a lot. I used to write a lot of songs and used to write a lot of poetry. And somewhere along the line, perhaps on this other journey with, discovering art and a side of art that I never thought I could get into or that I would, excel at, I was busy with that. And so now I'm going back and realizing that even after that time of not reading and not writing, I feel like it was when I got back into music after a break, where it just is naturally better. My writing is better. I read it, I'm like, oh, I write it and it means something, and it comes out and it's, oh, that's pretty fucking good. Not to pat myself on the back.
No, you should.
Yeah, but
I feel like all of it is just, it's contributing to your value as a person. Everything you bring to it, everything that you're doing is adding to what you know and to who you are, and you can take those lessons, and that is actually what I think kind of makes all of us unique in our things. Because if we've got different interests and ideas, I don't know exactly how something how my interest in comedy affects my interest in activism until I start trying to apply the two together, and then realizing, oh, this is a whole spin on this that is, comes with unique. And then you're backing that up with, I can only speak for myself, but talking about festivals and things like that. That's something that is not really crossing over too often with these other interests that I have, and the perspective that brings. I know that makes me. I know I'm adding something else to it. And there's something in that, it's like you can have the smartest people and the best experts in something, but if you don't have the perspectives that are different, you're really hamstringing yourself because you don't really know. I only know my own life. That's the only life that I can know.
You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And there's just so much we don't know, but if you open up your mind to like things and you think about things differently, then it's like different things. The universe just sends you. Like,
not knowing is great because when you don't know, you always want to know, and so you'll just keep going and learning more things. But then you tell yourself, "Well, I don't know," and then you'll keep learning. So it's a big circle that goes around. And
everybody I know that that I've ever met that I really liked and respected, the one thing they had in common was that they all wanted to learn. They all wanted to keep learning. They had this insatiable fucking hunger,
curiosity,
the curiosity that carried over into everything. That's why me and Bree will sit here and we'll just flip through and watch the Korean channel on network TV. And just be like, what the fuck is this? And we'll sit here for 20 minutes and watch this shit. We have no idea what's going on. And we start making up our own shit to it. And it's just it's interesting little fucking things that you bring.
Yeah.
It's always great to have somebody else to help you along
that is true.
Curious path. Well, we are about up on our time here. And, it was fucking great. How this conversation went, just really making me excited to go home and work on some stuff that I probably wasn't feeling that inspired about today. And so thank you for that. And I'm really looking forward to hearing this story about the crazy shit that you're going to do up in San Francisco. Cause now I'm intrigued. It was very
I'll
vague.
report back.
Yeah, it was very mysterious there. So I'm I got all excited about that. And
when you start your podcast, then you'll come back on to promote it,
Of course.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll be happy to, Phil could give you all the lowdown.
Yeah.
I just show up and I just talk. So that's
don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, don't sell yourself short over there.
But I'll try. I'm working on that. Anyway, is there anything other than a manifestation that you want to promote for the immediate future?
I just feel like I think everybody has a soul purpose, and that people have these dreams and these visions for a reason, and it's so often that we just neglect them. And I think it's really important to hone in and really get in touch with yourself and see why you want these things, and kind of just think about ways that you can make those happen, as opposed to just settling in life, because the universe wants us all to succeed. Everybody has the potential to be amazing and succeed. And if you allow yourself and really try to rewire your thoughts and shift your reality, you can really make incredible things happen. So that's what I'm all about, and that's what I want to spread. Love is really important. We're all love. So the more love that you give, the more love that you'll get. And the more you give in general, the more you'll get back. And
just let it bleed.
So let it bleed.
Just let it bleed. Just get it out there. That's the whole, that's beautiful. That's the whole basis of this, podcast and what we're all about here. So the message is awesome. Everybody should, really take to heart what was spoken here today. I'm really excited about that. And I know if you don't have anything else to promote, what do you got going on, Phil?
Well, I've got some actually really, shit. I should have had some of this stuff ready, because I've been going to these, these activist meetings in this group that I actually recently joined up. Again, it's a situation where I look at everything that's going on today, and, just talking about it on a podcast or posting things to social media, it's just, and, making sure I'm voting and even doing that, it just doesn't feel like enough. It doesn't feel like I'm rising to the situation. Like I could be doing more. And so I decided to there's this group that I was kind of aware of, a local group that was kind of doing things that were in line with what I wanted to do. And so I said, okay, why try to do everything myself and think about all these things I could be doing when I can go there and just see? It was a kind of a weird situation. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything. I just get these emails every once in a while. And so I just showed up to this event one day. And I got there, and it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I walked in, just kind of told them my story and what I wanted to do, what I was about, how I wanted to help, and instantly was welcomed in. And they're like, oh shit, we could use the things that you need to do, including I had to get back here to get set up to record. And they're like, that was kind of one of the things that we wanted to do, to start getting messages out. We don't know how to do a podcast. I was like, are you kidding? I know how to do a podcast. And then they started their meeting. They were talking, you know, and I just watched them go for a minute. I'm just like, oh shit. And all these things that I don't know how to do, they were just going for it. They had all this information, all this really localized stuff, these really incredible, you know, we started talking about things, and I was like, oh wait, here's my chance, because I know about messaging and how to like get that out there and how to digitally, you know, kind of amplify this stuff. And all of their, you know, their things were right on point. And it was like, wow, I'm so glad I just fucking took a chance, just drove down to this place I'd never been to before, and walked into a room full of people I'd never met and didn't know, nobody taught me to, and just showed up, you know? And there's an incredible value in that.
Absolutely.
And so I will have some more to talk about real soon.
Yeah, that's dope. I'm
yeah.
glad you got your feet wet with it finally, because I know you've been wanting to do something like that for
It really
quite some
has
time.
made me like, you know,
It's coming together now.
Feeling better.
Well, I think that just comes full circle with what we were just saying in the beginning of this podcast, was
Absolutely.
find people that are, you know, better at what you're not good at. And then it's not just mindset.
Delegate.
It's not about just like sitting here and thinking, okay, I want to do this and being positive. It's like actually putting yourself out there, doing the physical work, and then the universe sends you what you need.
Yes, exactly. It'll all work out if your intent is there, and you know you're open to it, and
you're putting in the work,
and you're and it's
You just gotta show up. You gotta get over that hump, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so you know that's awesome, man. Congratulations on that.
And
I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Yes, we'll be we'll be hearing more about the HB Huddle pretty soon here.
Excellent.
But in the meantime, if everybody wants to know some other stuff, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Phil and Nobody Cares, and on Instagram you can flip that around for at Nobody Cares Phil. And while you're at it, of course, that's more important. That's why I said it first, and not the podcast, which is at Let It Bleed Cast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then make sure you subscribe to this podcast however you get them. All right. Or just send Dave a message here. He would be happy to burn them onto a CD and bring them over individually each episode.
I'm old school like
to your house like that. Yeah, no, it's viral marketing. All right, you gotta stand out. You gotta be unique. So yeah, props on that. Just let us know if you want Dave to come to your house and bring a CD. It doesn't matter as long as you're in the continental United States. You know,
I'm easy. I like dressing up. Anyway, so yeah, that's awesome. I will definitely do that if you request it. That means that you're listening to the podcast and you're a fan, and
that
I like
is legally binding.
Oh shit! All right, well I've done stupider things, so
that is very true.
Anyway, this is going to be a crazy weekend for me. Crazy isn't good because I've got Mutate on Friday out in LA. If you have not gone or checked out Mutate, it is unlike anything that you're going to find around in Southern California right now. It's really a blessing to be part of this awesome group where I get to exercise my creativity in ways that I've always wanted to, well, along the lines of us, you know, falling into the dreams that we've always had and not realizing that we're putting ourselves there. So it's cool where it's going. It's, you know, tickets are on sale. You could find it in my links on the Psychedelic Lions Den page, which you should be following as well. The Psychedelic Lions Den Instagram. And on Sunday, we do have Art in the Park, which is going to be a very special one because we initially, it's the Happy Accidents theme. So, you know, kind of trying to show that life being the not perfect, you know, being the one that throws us all these curveballs, we can learn how to turn our mistakes, if you will, into happy accidents. And
I love that.
I'm dressing up like Bob Ross. We encourage you to dress up like any artist and come out and have fun. But on top of the theme and what we've got going on, it's going to be a very special one too, because we are going to have a memorial for our late friend, Matt Pasalt, aka Moose. Unfortunately, today I got very devastating news. I'm not sure if you knew him. He actually was part of the Desert Hearts family. He went to the Desert Hearts Festival last year, and if you did know him, you would know him. I described him earlier on Facebook as a tank of a teddy bear, because this guy is just he was a massive, you know, just huge bodybuilder, but the nicest, sweetest guy that was just so kind and giving, and you know, truly someone who was not meant for this world for a long time, because, you know, just some of those people that are just so intensely unique in themselves and the way that they are. He unfortunately passed away on Sunday, causes I'm not sure of at the moment. But we are going to do a little memorial for him. And, I'm going to try to get like a canvas going where, I'm going to outline him and have people come and paint it and, maybe give it to his family or something and see if we could raise any money or whatever. But you should come out for that. It's going to be really good. So, rest in peace, Matt. And if there's anybody out there that is going through a hard time, I definitely want to say that now, because we know that this world is a crazy place right now. And it's very overwhelming for a lot of people. And we're seeing people, not that I'm saying he did take his life. I don't know what the cause was, but if these are thoughts that are ever in your brain, if you're, if you're not even, if you can't even, get to a point where you want to focus on goals, like you're like just trying to think of how you can survive every single day, don't sit there and let yourself deal with it alone. Like reach out to people, like, and if you're listening to the show, definitely reach out to us. I would love to be there to help in any way that I can, and it's just, don't try to go it alone. So you're loved, and if you're going through anything, reach out. So
amen.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, we're going to take a picture here in just a second, but I'm super stoked with how this went today. And thank you again for driving down from Marina Del Rey.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me. It's totally worth it.
I used to make that drive, and I appreciate it.
It was
really.
not too bad. It was only 54 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
a good deal, yeah.
That's still a long time to come see our broke wizard asses over here. So
Yeah.
thank you so
man.
much.
Raise my vibration.
The vibrations are going to come. Yeah. So thank you all for tuning in. As always, let it please